Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Hope you enjoy it for as long as it lasts, because I don't know how long I'm going to be here. I have said this in the past, but given the astonishing levels of censorship that I saw last night, I'm a little bit worried. Like technically I'm not talking about anything that's against the rules or terms of service, but you never know. Because I usually keep an eye on YouTube support. And last night there were around 25 channels that were contacting YouTube support talking about how they didn't get any community guideline strikes. They had their channels in good order, they were following the rules, and then boom, Thanos, just like that. 25 channels, give or take. And it's a little bit bewildering. Apparently, I read in an article from the New York Times, which was released literally minutes after. How did they manage to get a hold of this information before anyone else, before the company made a public statement? I don't know, but it was out there. Apparently, YouTube has decided to update its terms of service in order to ban any content regarding QAnon. And then they're going to update their terms of service in order to ban targeted harassment against an individual. So I guess no more drama channels, and this ban seems to happen retroactively. Like if I guess like a YouTuber needs to foresee into the future what the terms of service are going to be in 2025, so they don't make videos now that are problematic. Like there was, I understand this guy privated all of his videos, and he still got yeeted. And again, like, why does the New York Times knows about this before everyone else? Well, why didn't Fox News know about this? Is it based on a certain level of preference? Like, certain publication get insider knowledge before the actual content creators who allegedly could change something about their channel. Again, like, this doesn't target me. I don't talk about these things, but like, I'm just wondering, it's like, what if I'm talking about something now that 3 years down the line is not going to be okay? Don't become a YouTuber. Horrible job. Very stressful. Very stressful. The pay is good, but the job security is horrible. Well, actually, do become a YouTuber because you get to make people happy. You get to make people entertain, and that's all it matters. Right. Let's talk a little bit about Styxhexenhammer. More censorship, right? So, Twitter and Facebook went insane with basically turning. I would say they managed to turn into Joe Biden's PR campaign overnight. It would be like a scene from the TV show The Boys, where you have the entire people in the conference room realizing that something bad about the company has been released to the public, and how they can spin it, what they can tell to the public in order to make the company look good. It's literally like that. It's like, oh, hold on, we need to think about this. We need to think about this. How can we, like, we need to fact check it first. And you can say they panicked because of the way they reacted. Like Twitter, for example, at first banned the information because, oh, it comes from hacked sources and we don't want to encourage hacking. This is as if the information would come, like a journalist would trespass on government property in order to film some human rights abuses, and they would say, well, the information comes from trespassing and we don't want to encourage trespassing. Even though technically it wasn't even hacking, like from what I understand, the laptop was given to a repair guy, and the repair guy, like, you sign a contract with him that it's his property while the guy is repairing it. So that's not hacking. Okay, hacking implies that you're not giving permission to the person to go on your laptop, which, whatever. It doesn't even matter. Like, the conversation is so stupid. I don't understand. Like, since when does it matter where the information came from? And then you notice that the same standard isn't applied across the board, right? Because now they're not saying that the information comes from hacking. Now they're saying, oh, well, we need to fact check the information first. And this is the problem. Like, when did they do this with other politicians? When did they do this in the past? Like, for example, why didn't they do this when the New York Times released an article about Trump's tax returns? Why didn't they fact check information about the Russia conspiracy theory? Why don't they fact check? And you notice that when Obamagate was trending, Twitter shot it down. I mean, like, at this point, I even doubt there are average people that believe what Twitter is saying. There's just two types of people. There's people that favor the Democratic side, and they know that what Twitter is saying is false, but they also know it's advantageous to them, so they just pretend it's like, oh no, Twitter has the best intentions at heart. You know, a multi-billion-dollar corporation cares about the actual people, but the rich are evil. You know, it's really a very interesting cognitive dissonance that they're putting out there. But they know it's not true. Like they just use the arguments that are given to them in order not to look like hypocrites. And then, you know, there's the other people that are on the other side and know Twitter is full of shit, but either they don't care or they're just right-wing supporters anyway. So I don't think there's that many people at this point that don't understand that these companies are just propaganda machines. Like, they are doing PR for their favorite presidential candidate. And if you look here at this article from Wired, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, they have a lot of money invested into the Democratic campaign. So why wouldn't they, you know, defend their financial interests? Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? But anyway, right. Styxhexenhammer, a YouTuber, very popular guy. It's quite interesting. He's so popular, even though his videos are some of the low quality production videos on YouTube. I mean, you think my videos are low quality production. He doesn't even edit. He doesn't even put stuff on his screen. He doesn't do anything, and he's got like 3 times, if not more, the number of subscribers that I do. So clearly there is something out there, you know, worthy of listening. If someone can captivate an audience like that with just a little camera in his little room over there with 2 cats walking around, then he's got something interesting to say. And his video got retweeted by the US president himself. Now, do I believe that the US president actually watched his videos? Highly unlikely. Probably one of his staffers did. And he retweeted the video that he posted on Dailymotion. So now it's All Tech is being promoted. That's interesting, you know, because a lot of subscribers are now going to join him. He's getting a couple of tens of thousands more views than usual, which is good. But at the same time, it's also bad because now he's got a target painted on his back. I have seen on Twitter in the last couple of days many people that Donald Trump retweeted getting the platform, usually within the span of a week or 2. There were people that were making memes, there were people that were making political content, there were people that were talking about stuff. Donald Trump retweeted them, and when you go down to Donald Trump's timeline, you'll see that he retweets like some private individual, and it's like content could not be found because there is an army of activists that are going right now. I'm willing to bet that they are going right now through Styxhexenhammer's Twitter and combing and researching and going through everything that he posts in order to find any ammunition they can that's going to be enough to get him the platform. And you know, these are the offense necromancers, the offense archaeologists. Like, they can go years in the past. It's very unlikely that any person on earth that has been using a Twitter for maybe 6 or 7 years, they haven't said at least one offensive joke or at least one thing. Good luck finding that on Styx, though, you know, because he's very careful with this stuff. So at least it will keep these people busy, you know, leaving the rest of humanity alone while they're laser focusing on Styx. He, from what I see, like, doesn't do anything offensive. Like, there are a couple of videos that were cringy that they found. It's, you know, Styx with a little bit of a mustache saying why feminists won't date men or something like that. I forgot, like, the title, but, like, they found this cringy thing. And, you know, like, again, it makes me think, it's like, okay, so if they found something from 9 years ago, you know, it goes to show that they already started looking into it. They're probably combing his YouTube channel as well. You know, like, this is the reality we're in. If you happen to make an impact, if you get the attention of, you know, someone important, they will go after you because they want to send a message, you know, and the message is, you make content that ridicules or mocks the left, we'll take you out. And we already took out people bigger than you. What chance do you think you have? This has been seen with CNN blackmailing a U.S. citizen. There was this U.S. citizen that made a meme regarding CNN, and then they blackmailed him. You know, it was the hashtag CNN blackmail. It trended for a while. But like they don't like being mocked. They don't like being joked. And by them I mean people that are influenced, that are influencers on the left, because they want to be taken seriously. It's very difficult to take someone seriously if you're mocking and ridiculing them. So you know that's why humor is the first thing to die in a totalitarian regime. Or you know, in the case when you have fanatics and ideologues, they don't like jokers. That's why they can't make a distinction between hate speech and humor anymore. That's why comedy and edginess doesn't exist. Like Beavis and Butthead, South Park, all of these shows that I grew up with wouldn't exist in the current climate. No way, no how. And they don't make a distinction between jokes and actual calls to action because they don't want to make that distinction. They're using the idea of hate speech as a way to also attack comedy and jokes because they know the power of comedy and jokes. But anyway, right. So yeah, a little bit demoralized here. You know, just seeing channels getting taken out without any community guideline strike, without anything. And again, it's over things that are applied retroactively. Like there was no rule on YouTube. And this goes to show that maybe I'm doing something now, because I know for sure I'm not a violator. I don't violate any community guideline strikes today. But like, what was to say that in 2025, there might not be a new rule that is going to be applied retroactively? Like, I don't know, banning humor or something. You know, like you're not allowed to be sarcastic or something like that. I mean, you gotta remember, when YouTube started, violence was not only permitted on the platform, it was promoted. I mean, you had things like bomb fights, which started on YouTube. You know, a guy giving dollars to homeless people to fight each other. Horrible, right? But it was on YouTube. People watched it. You know, everyone is going to say, oh, that's horrible, but yet it had a lot of views. It was trending. However, doing drugs was banned, so anything drug related, like I guess Joe Rogan wouldn't be able to have his podcast. And anything LGBT related. If you had two girls kissing on YouTube, that was banned. Now, if you look at the terms of service, even simulated violence, like enacted violence, or I don't know, like something such as like extreme skateboarding or parkour is pushing the line, and you don't really know whether or not that video will be accepted or not. While, you know, Joe Rogan exists. Smoking pot with Elon Musk, like that's fine. And then you also have, obviously, LGBT is heavily promoted by YouTube's Twitter and whatnot. The rules change. That's my point. What was okay 7 or 8 years ago is not okay now. So why would I believe that this trend is not going to continue? Like, what is okay now is probably not going to be okay in 7 or 8 years, and what is considered not okay now is going to be promoted in 7 or 8 years. People have very short memory span, you know. So I just don't like the way this was handled. And why does the New York Times know more about YouTube's policy than their own creators? I mean, there were around like 20 channels, give or take, right? Why couldn't they get an email and said, hey, look, we changed our terms of service. Your content is no longer acceptable. You got like 1 month to get rid of that content or find another platform. Like, at least, you know, the minimum, bare minimum. Like, they're still human beings out there, right? Like, they're still trying to make a living. I'm just... it's weird, you know, because the YouTube CEO said regarding Article 13 in the European Union, it's like, oh, politicians, you need to think about how many people you're going to get unemployed and how many people are going to lose their jobs if they pass this. Clearly, she cares about creators and the people that are pretty much making money for the company, but, like, okay, whatever. You know, she doesn't have to care, I mean, but it's very demoralizing for everyone else when you notice that overnight your child can be in good standing and poof, gone, that's it, bye-bye. What I think, though, is that YouTube is taking calls from the mainstream media. Like the New York Times and other mainstream media outlets seem to have a lot of influence on not just YouTube, but social media in general. And I mean, the New York Times, aren't they the ones that made an article about YouTube's radicalization and whatnot? So to me, it seems like, if you play by our rules, we're not going to accuse you of doing bad stuff. And playing by our rules. Oh, yes, okay, well, the US president is not condemning QAnon. We want you to ban it. Or something like that. I don't know. Like, to me, it seems weird that they have primary access to information that even the content creators don't. Like, it took literally minutes after it has happened for them to publish an article. And the journalist publishing the article is also a guy that's has a big boner for censorship, which is interesting. Like, censorship was the anathema of journalists. Like, they were the ones arguing for free speech a couple of decades ago, and they would be like, "Oh, we can't do our job if we're getting censored." And nowadays, look at it, they're the ones asking for censorship. And people in academia, same thing. It's like, how can we do academic research? Maybe this is just me from being from Eastern Europe talking about it, because here in Eastern Europe under communism we did have censorship for the press and for academia, and maybe that's why they're more outspoken for free speech than in America, which didn't benefit from communism. So maybe it's a good thing if Joe Biden wins. Like, maybe now Joe Biden wins, in 4 years or 8 years you have AOC. And with a little decades of communism and oppression, it's going to be like a vaccine, and you're never going to want it ever again. Maybe then you can become like Eastern Europe. Both in terms of wealth and in terms of morality. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the comment section.